Hi. Um, so I am starting this blog thing. I don't know if it's going to go on for more than this entry, but I felt like there needed to be a face put to the issue at hand. And that issue is, of course, racism, privilege, stereotyping, Ferguson, because it's all fresh on our minds. We don't know how to stop this, and yet it feels as though so many people are participatory in the propagation of the types of stereotypes that eventually lead to the violence against and the insignificance of the death of Black teenagers, Black men, Black people in America. I don't know why this is continuing to be okay. I don't understand how you can take a life and make $500,000 off of that life. How you can then write a letter to your supporters, thanking them for being there through this trying time. But this all seems to be connected. I mean, how can you take a life in any capacity and not feel any guilt, think that everything is just going to go about as normal, he is going to continue his life, even though he stopped someone else's, and the fact that this is not something that gives people pause in general, despite the reasoning, the fact that we even have a debate about, is Michael Brown a gangster? Was he a good kid? Is saying that the types of people that fit the stereotype that we think deserves to be shot, I guess, for lack of a better word, they deserve to be killed for whatever actions they may have done, although it's very unclear what those may be. That there is a differentiation between the good Black people and the Black people that promote crime, that are on welfare, that do all of these terrible things. But either way, do those people deserve to die because their stereotype has promoted them as dangerous, as useless, as violent? I believe that in this country, there are layers of racism. You can peel them all down to the most insignificant moments. For example, there was a party that was thrown on my campus recently. I won't say what school I go to, but if you know me, then you know what I'm talking about. Where a group of students threw a party that encouraged people to dress as Bloods, to bring their blunts and 40s, baggy jeans, backwards hats, the whole thing. And it was a rap party, dress as your favorite rapper. I truly believe that the type of system in which a party can be held mocking a specific ethnic group and their stereotypes of being gangsters and of, only smoking blunts and 40s and let's get down and all of that. I think any culture that allows for a dehumanization and a mockery of a specific group is eventually going to lend itself to, when I see a person dressed in baggy clothes who is, drinking a 40 or smoking a blunt, well, maybe they are poor. Maybe they are on welfare. Maybe they're in a gang, in which case, maybe they don't pull their weight, because our capitalist society suggests that anyone on welfare is there because they want to be, because that is, ideal in some way, because welfare is so much money that they're just sitting on it laughing at the middle class. Can't even get into how ridiculous I think that is. But any type of stereotype that promotes that culture and that understanding eventually leads to the kind of violence and acceptance of that violence that we are seeing in places like Ferguson and all over the country. I know that seems like a leap, but the more that you associate in your mind Black culture, which is what these stereotypes, they come from something real. The more that you associate Black culture with, gangs and welfare and, all of these negative problems, the more that we dehumanize, the more that we promote this almost guerrilla barbaric-esque stereotype of Black men as dangerous, the more that you on a street corner are going to think, oh, that young man in his baggy pants, he may try to rob me. I walk behind people on the street and they clutch their purses. Now, I don't know about you, but I think I'm really just not scary at all. But I don't see where else that could come from but a stereotype. I got followed to school by a cop the other day who asked if I went here because I looked suspicious in my sundress and backpack. It's the kind of culture that promotes those stereotypes leads to the kind of harassment and the kind of questions that tend to arise during the Michael Brown case, which are, oh, well, did he deserve it because did he rob someone? In terms of the question even of the petty robbery, I guarantee you that a white child, because Michael Brown is a child, that stole some cigars would not be shot dead in the street and left to rot there for 4 hours. A police report would not take 2 weeks to file. It would be handled. Just like if I tried to throw a party, like the one I described to you. Let's say that I throw a party and I call it, a basic bonanza, and I say, wear your Uggs and bring your Starbucks and we're going to have a great time being basic. People would be mad at me because I should know better. If I should know better, the rest of America should also know better. College-age students should know the kind of repercussions that a situation and that stereotypes like this bring about. And they should be able to understand, or at least empathize with, the most prevalent issue in American history for the past 400 years. Racism didn't pop up yesterday. Prejudice didn't arrive when Barack Obama was elected. These are not crazy concepts. And the fact that I have to work so hard to explain why these things are offensive to people, it's gotten to a point where I almost don't believe that people don't realize what they're doing. If I know better, why don't you know better? I assume you're an educated individual who goes to a private school. You would know what stereotyping is. You would know what, racism is. You would know about even Dear White People, the film that was made about these hip hop parties, and yet I think it is actually insulting to people's intelligence to act like this issue is incomprehensible just because they have not experienced it. But for some reason, Blackness is this far out, crazy concept. Racism is in everyone's head. It doesn't exist, despite the fact that there are protests and fires all over the country right now because of this issue. The fact that the KKK is handing out flyers in Ferguson. The fact that these messages of hate are coming back to the forefront of our society so quickly suggests to me that they have never gone away. They just stopped making the news. So now we have moved beyond the racism of the past, the blatant lynchings and the public demonstrations, and we have instead moved to things like the private prison system. You can see the disparities in our education systems, in our private school systems. You can see it in everyday comments that are made about Black people, Black suspects. The fact that Black men are making the news more for being shot than for the good things they are doing. Even Barack Obama can't get on news channels to give his speech about immigration. As an American citizen, I don't feel as though it should be normal for me to be afraid of law enforcement. I think they are there to protect and to serve, not to attack and to hunt. However, every time that I have encountered law enforcement in any capacity, whether they have engaged with me or not, I walk away thinking, at any moment, this person could shoot me in the back and never see a day in jail. As irrational as I wish this fear was, the events of not only the Michael Brown case, but so many others have proven to me that this is a very real fear, and that I am in fact constantly in this kind of danger, which in my own country seems absolutely ludicrous. This is not a war zone. This is not me traveling to some lawless land, and yet someone who is supposed to protect me can shoot me and get away with no repercussions. How do you feel safe in a world like that? Anyway, there's no conclusion to this video blog because there is no conclusion to this issue. I just wanted to air my thoughts and opinions. I would appreciate comments. Maybe I'll respond to them. Hate will be ignored, but articulate opinions will be responded to. Thank you for your time.